everyone, how's it going? It's That Nerd Ryan here, and welcome to today's video, which is the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies review. So far we talked about World at War and Black Ops 1. We're now talking Black Ops 2. To me, the classic zombies. While I grew up, or was introduced to Black Ops 1 zombies initially when it came out, I do feel that I did grow up more with Black Ops 2 zombies. Being that, for me, for a very long time, Origins was the last zombies map. I actually did not know up until, getting Black Ops 3 for free that they continued the zombie storyline. And I also didn't know up until literally about the start of making the World at War video that there was something after Shadows of Evil, which inspired me to make this series. But yeah, so for the longest time I thought this was the end-all be-all, and I would go and play it from time to time up until recently where I decided to play it for this review. So for those who haven't seen the last two videos, I did not do the Easter eggs in these. I am planning to try to do that for Black Ops 3. But I played it on PlayStation 2. I did play some with some friends for a while. But my goal was to try to open up and explore the entire map and reach round 10. And go from there for the review. The reason why I didn't do the Easter eggs for these was because I was playing on a PlayStation 3. I did not have any means of really connecting with people that I could trust and know to do these Easter eggs. I did do some online, so we can discuss that at the end. But really, you couldn't do anything unless you had a LAN party, which I did not have. I also was playing on a crusty old busted PlayStation 3 controller that I only used to watch DVDs. But yeah, so let's talk about characters really quick. We did that in Black Ops 1 and World at War, I believe. So we're going to talk about the 12 characters that you get to play as, along with the 2 influence characters. What I mean by that are the 2 different announcers or the people that you follow for the Easter eggs. You do hear them even if you don't attempt to do the Easter eggs. I guess 3 because we include Samantha as well. But yeah, so we're introduced to Victus, which is Russman, Stuhlinger, Misty, and Marlton. I liked Misty and Marlton the most. Didn't really care for Russman, but Stuhlinger was very annoying for me, even though he was the most important one if you were trying to do the Easter egg on Richthofen's side, because he's the only one that could hear him. You also get to play as the thief, or the jail crew, which is Al Arlington, Billy Handsome, Sal Maroney, I believe it was. No, that's a Batman character, but Sal, and Michael Madsen's character that I can't think of. That was our famous cast in this. I really enjoyed them all. I loved actually playing as Billy Handsome, which, rest in peace, Ray Liotta. But Billy Handsome, I felt, was the best character for that, even though everybody loves Weasel. I think Billy Handsome's my favorite. And then you also get to play as Primus for the first time. Primus is the alternate reality version of the original Zombies crew. So you do have Richthofen, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takio. And they're completely different characters. They're rewritten, kind of, if you think about it, to be more PC. But also, they still have, their fun quirks. I do have to say, I am a little, meshed right now on how they acted in Origins, because I have been playing a lot of Black Ops 3 for the next video. But from what I remember from actually playing Origins, is that they do kind of feel very bland compared to the original crew in Origins. They are basically not knowing what's going on and trying to figure out what's going on during World War I. So it's understandable that they aren't like quirky as their Ultimus counterparts. I do remember initially not enjoying Primus, but now playing Black Ops 3, I absolutely love Primus. So then let's talk about the announcers. Having Ultimus Richtofen as one of the announcers I thought is great. Nolan North brings a lot of personality to it, and just also having the add-on of him talking to Stuhlinger is pretty good. Maxis, I don't really have an opinion on because you have to be in certain areas to hear him well, and it always seemed that like whenever Maxis was talking, I was the exact opposite of where you needed to be in the room to fully hear him. So I didn't really have anything with that. And then in Origins you get Samantha. I thought this version of Samantha was very good. I did like the fact that like she's not evil, she's just trying to escape, and I thought that was fun. So finally, let's get into the maps. So we're covering 6 maps today, and something that everybody can agree on, Black Ops 3 is, or Black Ops 2 is very divided on the maps between very bad and very good. So we're going to go in order. I don't know if you would consider this release order or timeline order, because technically one of these maps was released on release day as a pre-order bonus and then later got added on. But Nuketown Zombies is the first one we're talking about. It's the first one I played on this playthrough, and it's a nice gimmick. It's a nice map. It doesn't really have anything to do with the story. Doesn't have a lot to do in general. And is just like kind of a waiting game. There's not a lot of doors to open, not a lot to do. You have to kind of wait for perk machines to show up and then just train. So it does quickly become a boring map. But it is like, it feels tacked on because there's no like barriers or anything. It feels like they just put a skin over Nuketown and threw zombies in it. So that one I'm not going to get into that much because it does feel like it's extra tacked on. Next is Transit. I do also want to say at this point, the only survival that I played for this was Nuketown Zombies. I know there's other gameplay features such as survival, which is just old school zombies. Then there's the Grief, which is versus. I did play that once a long time ago. I thought it was interesting, not really my thing. Then doing Turned, I thought was kind of a fun tag game, but eh. And then I believe that was it. There was supposed to be some cut content of like Fetch or something like that, where you have to meet, stuff like that. Not going to talk about that, obviously, but yeah, I just wanted to clarify that first. But Transit is 5 maps in one. It's a very ambitious map, very big, not expensive. What I mean by expensive is it doesn't take a ton of points to open up the entire map. I mean, it does take a good amount of points, but it doesn't take a lot, like we'll talk about later with 2 other maps, which are interestingly directed by the same person that directed all the Black Ops 3 maps. But yeah, so it's a big map. It introduces us to Victus. It does have a boss being a electric zombie. I luckily did not have to put up with that, but we also have denizens, which are annoying. There are a lot of features added onto this map, such as the bus, which is the transportation, using denizens to teleport throughout the map, smaller maps within the map, as in like we get Nocturne on Toten, we get a a tunnel and stuff like that that aren't main map areas that the bus doesn't stop at, but you can go into. I thought, as an idea, transit is an amazing idea. I think they bit off more than they can chew, and that's what made it a bad map. Next, we're going to talk about Die Rise. And this is the worst zombies map I've ever played. It's a vertical map, which is very cool. And like different levels that you have to go through. It's a cheap map. You don't have to spend a lot of points to open everything or get to everywhere. You can literally use the elevators after you turn on power. I think you literally only need to open one door to turn on power if you know what you're doing. The Sliquifier being the wonder weapon. Very fun, interesting gun, but also dangerous. And I like that it's buildable and not like in the box. But that also leads to a lot of issues with the level jumping in the map, where you can get hurt and downed or just fall off the map without even like intentionally doing so, which does bring a detriment. There was a few times where I did that, but there's also just a lot of tight corridors, surprisingly. So if you're trying to train or anything, there's only one or two good areas where you can train. And playing with my friends on that one, that's very hard to do when you're playing with 2 or 3 people to be able to run. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Die Rise, worst map in zombies. After that, we do take a break from Victus, and we go to what I think is an amazing map, Mob of the Dead. It is not my favorite map. I think that honestly goes to a map in Black Ops 3. It might be my favorite map in the game next to Buried, though, which we'll talk about in a minute. But, I mean, this is the first map directed by the same director of the Black Ops 3 maps, and it shows. There's a lot to do in this. You can get a tactical by feeding hellhounds, and you get the Hell's Retriever. You can fight the boss that is Brutus. You can, which Brutus is an amazing boss. You fight, of course, zombies, which have red eyes this time around. You can go into Afterlife mode, which allows you to turn power on certain things and go through walls and everything like that. And then buildables are a little bit different. I forgot to mention buildables are introduced in Black Ops 2. How the Victus crew works is that you have to grab each individual item and build as you go. In Mob of the Dead and Origins, you have to grab every item before you build. And that just saves so much time and makes it a lot safer to do so. Excuse me. But that is a major issue with Black Ops 2, is the differentiating on the buildables. It does throw you off. So, anyways. Sorry, I drew a blank as I coughed. But yeah, there's a lot to do in this. There's a very cool opening cutscene. The only issue is it's a very expensive map. You have to open a lot of doors and everything, and most of them range over 1250 to like 1500 points just to open these doors. So yes, it's a very expensive game to play, or like a match, because especially if you want to try to at least do one thing in the game. You have to spend so many points to be able to unlock the Hell's Retriever, to be able to build the plane, to basically do anything. It takes a lot of points. But I still think that it is a great introduction to the directions of which Zombies was going. Next we have Buried, which is probably one of my favorite maps of all time, and favorite map in this game. When you talk about Mob of the Dead being an expensive map, if you play it right, Buried is basically a free map. There's ways that you can use the big person that has 5 different names: Arthur, Leroy. I always called him Tommy. You can use him to basically open everywhere, or you can use the paralyzer to get into windows that above payable doors. And then, of course, this is the easiest way to get to the bank, which I didn't even mention yet. In the 3 maps, Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, you can use a banking system to save your points and spend your points throughout all 3 maps. You also get drawable weapons, which give you free points. So yeah, basically you can have, if you play your cards right, this entire map opened on round 1. And this is pre-Gobblegum, pre-anything. But yeah, I've seen people finish the Easter egg for this map at round 4. So, I mean, the fact that, like, you can literally do this because the map is insanely free, that's one reason why I like it. The other is the wonder weapon of the paralyzer, and just doing literally anything and everything in this map. The ghost witches are probably some of the best bosses. And the setting of a underground south old west town is just really, really cool. And then finally we have the magnum opus, what I thought was the last map for the longest time, Origins. Which is ironic when you think about it, that I thought it was the last map, but the title of the map means the beginning of something. So we already talked about the characters. Let's talk about the map. It's World War I, France. We are introduced to Primus, who are trying to figure out what to do, how to save this Samantha girl that's talking to them, and how to get out of this zombie situation. This map is humongous, and again, because it's the same direction of Mob of the Dead, this map is extremely expensive. To turn on power, you do have to pay 1,200 points. That's excluding keeping it sustainable. To get to Pack-a-Punch, from literally the 4th generator to turn on, just when you to open the door to Pack-a-Punch is 2250 points. And then just basically opening any door after spawn is 1,250 points, I believe. It's either 1,000 or 1,250. So yes, this is a very expensive map. And the map truly doesn't even start until you get to No Man's Land. And just to get there costs you around 4,000 points. So yes, like I said, it's an expensive map. The Panzer is the boss in this. Originally playing in Origins, I actually had to turn the difficulty down, which is something you could do in this game, from original to easy, just because the Panzer is so hard in this. I say in this because when we talk about Black Ops 3, if you set it up right, the Panzer is super easy in Der Reisendrag. But in Origins, this thing is a menace. And there's so much going on in this map. So many different things you could do. You could build the Wonder Weapon, which there's 4 different versions of. Unfortunately, I did not get to do that. You can get teleported into the crazy place. You can do so much in this map that I was not able to do because it is also a very hard map. Like I said, there's so much going on that you have to keep track of that's almost impossible for a single person playthrough. I do want to see if that changes in Zombie Chronicles. We'll talk about it then, but Origins is a phenomenal map, but it's very hard. So I did want to put a quick aside talking about multiplayer in this. Multiplayer in PlayStation 3 is not fun anymore. You get hackers, rage quitters, and glitchers. So, like, literally, it's not even worth going online to play. Which is sad. It's different for Black Ops 3, but this one was just not fun to do. So in ranking, number 1 in this would be Buried, followed by Mob of the Dead, followed by Origins, followed by Nuketown, then Transit, then Die Rise. That just shows me bashing Nuketown on how boring it gets, shows how terrible Transit and Die Rise are. But yeah, so Black Ops 2 Zombies, the most divisive zombies game I've ever played so far. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. Follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan.